As one disappears, get another one going. Keep your options open is good business no matter what business you're in. As mentioned at the beginning of the book, having less than 3 girls you're working on is a common mistake and a gigantic one. You try too hard. Steel Ball's principle. If you're trying, you're dying. Guilty feelings. Over the years, I found a third of the guys who are interested enough to email me, join my discussion group, or attend a workshop feel guilty and think it's immoral to court more than one young female at a time. I was stunned the first few guys who told me about this. If that's you, it's a mistaken belief. Joanna told a group of guys at a body language talk in 1999. Girls do it all the time. Years later, T-Babes continue to tell them. Most guys do not believe this. They think women are different. They don't think women have a string of pearls 100 men long. A good-looking woman has at least 20 guys, and she has phone numbers of 3 that she could call, and 5 minutes later, she'll be fucking. Most guys don't believe that, okay?
I feel like a liar and a user if I'm dating one woman and try to date several others. Don says we have to do this. Joanna says girls do it all the time. Yes, we do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Get him on the video.
I have a problem on this.
I just look at his response.
I know, dude. So, yeah.
All right,
Yes, we
so
Can you tell them why?
why not?
Why we dated other guys?
I'm not exclusively. Obviously.
You're trying them on. It's like a dress. You go to the store and you're shopping and you try on multiple dresses.
Yeah, you go, I like that one. I'm gonna come back and see if I can.
You're trying to see which one looks best on you.
Yeah. Well,
Like with guys.
I guess that's a good way to put it.
Alright, we gotta try you guys on and see if we mesh. We don't want to commit until we're sure it's gonna be something worth committing for, because we don't want to be stuck. Because you don't have to worry about breaking up with somebody if you were never together.
Yeah. Okay.
If you don't get rid of this false belief, you won't get anywhere because your attitude slips and you radiate desperate, lonely, horny when you're only courting one. You have to have 3 or more to avoid radiating lonely, desperate, horny. Okay. And you have to have 1 you're fucking if you really want to not radiate lonely, desperate, horny. She can be a 3. Doesn't make any difference. You radiate different when you're fucking. You don't take your time and maintain the mandatory casual indifference needed for her to think the affair is her idea. Dropping the pretense you try for too much too soon. You won't even realize you scared her. To save face, she'll control herself and continue acting like a woman until you're gone, then lose control of her bladder. Besides pissing her panties, she'll tell the other girls where she works or where you both work. You came on to her. It serves 2 purposes. She wants to find out if you're a notorious playboy, and she wants all the other females to be jealous. They talk all the time. You make a pass at one, every other woman in the building, every other woman in the company knows about it within 2 hours. Fuck ups from the real world. Let's start with my #1 fuck up of all time. It's at the top out of 1,000. Shelley was 21. She was physically, spiritually, and mentally everything I find mega attractive in any female, young or not. She had a sharp mind. She was brave and strong. She was conscientious, ambitious, and educated. Her absurd, silly sense of humor was backed by a grand, toothy smile and sparkling, devilishly blue eyes. Physically, she was delightful. I don't know how to get this across. It sounds weird, but she looked like she'd burst through her skin. I think she was so full of energy and life, it just looked like that. It's not important. It turned me on. In the beginning, I did everything right. I was sitting in the bar at Marie Callender's, bullshitting with a few of the girls who worked there. It was Shelley's first night as a cocktail waitress. Her friend Debbie was visiting, giving her moral support and having a few. I ignored Shelley and engaged Debbie in a conversation about Hawaii. The 2 of them were going when they graduated from Cal State in a few months. Shelley joined the conversation when she heard me discussing cheap places to stay. They asked tons of questions. I volunteered to bring the information in I'll stay cabins. When do you work? Pretty slick, huh? I waited 4 days. I sat at the bar, casually went over the cabins and suggested some hikes around there. Then I ignored her and left. A week later, I saw her car in the parking lot as I was driving by. Whoa, suddenly it was Miller time. On my way to the bar, she stopped me, excited, happy, and bubbling about getting reservations and thanking me for saving her so much money. I said, no problem. You're a waitress too? I'll sit with you the next time I'm having dinner. Later. How did I know that was her car, you ask? I turned the conversation that way the first few times we talked. Pretty slick, eh? 3 days later, I was working on a mild buzz, flirting with Sue, the bartender. I knew Shelley's schedule. I didn't expect to see her. She bounced over and plopped down beside me. She had on tight blue jeans, tight t-shirt, and no bra. Jesus, had I underestimated. Giant, medium, large tits, great curvaceous hips, great legs, just fucking great. The buzz, you know. I bought, we talked. Hawaii, backgammon, her trouble with advanced accounting, my inability with math, sorority snobs, ta-da, and our mutual dislike of the bar scene. The booze was working on both of us. Soon she was telling great dirty jokes and laughing at mine. Her signals were subdued, but definitely positive. My little head started yammering. Shit, she's ready. Just lay this on her. Let's see if you're that good at backgammon. We can go to my place. She'll go for it. You can suck the nipples right off those big tits. Let me fuck her doggy style. You can watch that big ass jiggle. My big head regained control when she left to powder her nose. I knew I should say something tactful to test the progress of her interest. Remembering past mistakes, I just said in an oh, by the way manner, I thought she was attractive. She blushed slightly. She said, not so bad yourself. I went to the men's room and got a hold of myself. I knew one more drink and I'd blow this opportunity before she blew me. After finding out her schedule as a waitress, I promised to come in and have dinner when she was working. Then I said, I have to go. Pretty slick, eh? On the way home and for the next 2 days, I thought about her constantly, focusing on important things. What do those tits look like flopping up and down while I'm ramming her? Should I go down on her right away? Are those pubes dark brown or blonde? Does she like being on top? She sees being a 21-year-old living at home, finishing college. I decided she's pretty mature, just too inexperienced to initiate it. She only needs a tactful invitation, no need to wait. I'll have to be relaxed and sure of myself. Thursday night arrived. I dressed sharply and threw down a couple to make sure I was confident. When I got there, I was feeling so confident I forgot to see where Shelley was coming from. I was so confident I started off the conversation after amenities by inviting her to come over to my place after work and beat me at backgammon. Pretty slick, eh? She tactfully declined with a semi-plausible excuse of finals coming up and having to study. I was so confident, I didn't realize I had just blown it. After days of fantasizing she was a woman, I persisted as if she actually were a woman. We can keep it short. I'll just beat you 3 straight. You'll be home by midnight. She said, no, really, I got to study, and left with my order. Fuck. I knew she liked me. She was so happy to see me. What the hell's wrong? Maybe I'm not confident enough. So I had another tequila confidence builder. I was so confident I couldn't see the right call. It was a drop back and quick kick. It was early in the first quarter. But to my confident alcoholic way of thinking, I was on this woman, not young woman's 1 yard line. So what if it's only the first quarter? You got to score when you're this close. Powered in, fullback over left tackle, on 2. You know what happened, right? I dropped the snap and booted the ball. Now, want to hear the fumble? Look, Shelley, we don't have to play these useless single bars game. I'm attracted to you, you're attracted to me. Come on over. She turned pale and walked away. Another girl brought my check. 2 months passed. I was sitting in a coffee shop. Shelley walked in, saw me, came over to my booth and sat down. She smiled a big toothy grin. What you been up to? I controlled my excitement and managed with great willpower to be casual. We talked for a while. The vibes were kind of good, so I figured, what the hell, I can't fuck it up any worse than I did, and suggested lunch. She hesitated and declined with no excuse. I figured, what the fuck? Let's find out what's wrong. I said, why not? She looked me straight in the eye and said, you're too smooth for me. I asked what that meant. Her reply, in effect, was, She liked me, she thought I was attractive, but you're just trying to fuck me and I don't appreciate that one bit. I figured, what the hell, it's truth-telling time. I said, indeed, I wanted to go to bed with her. That wasn't all I wanted. I told her truthfully how wonderful I thought she was and how I'd love going places and having fun together. She listened thoughtfully. I waited. The gist of her reply, that fateful night she had probably told another waitress I was going to have dinner at her station. That dear girl said I was a slut, always trying to pick up the waitresses. I remained calm with great effort. I told her it was not true. Sure, I was friendly with all the girls. I'm always friendly, but I never asked any of them out. I hadn't. I wanted to know who said those things, suggesting the names I considered the most catty. She wouldn't tell me. It made no difference. Irreparable damage had been done by my confidence. Somehow I had made a deadly enemy of that place without ever knowing it. Or the girl who called me a slut was one of those cunts, I could call names too, who can't stand it when another female is successful. I quit going to that bar or restaurant. Since then, I've been extra careful not to flirt seriously with any waitress, bartenders, or cocktail girls at my other hangouts. Who knows when another as dynamite as Shelley will walk through. I'll wait. When she does, I won't forget she's not a woman, no matter what fantasies I have. More fuck-ups. Hey, that's how you learn. I met Sandy where she worked. After a few visits and several friendly conversations about the weather, UCLA versus SC, my recent trip to Hawaii, and others, she invited me to lunch. Here's one of those rare but wonderful adult 19-year-olds. We won't have to dance long. Days later, on the way to the restaurant, I asked if she had trouble getting served, but she said yes. I cleverly suggested we stop by my house and have a margarita. She agreed. At that point, I knew I was dealing with a 19-year-old capital W woman. Sound familiar? We talked about college, her job, and other safe subjects. I had another tequila and cleverly maneuvered the conversations to relationship. Remember now, I talked with this young woman for a total of about 1 hour before getting her to my place. She seemed comfortable with the topic. She said her 22-year-old boyfriend was her dream lover. I considered him the man I'm going to marry when I graduate. I talked about my ex. She had another drink, and I had another drink, and cleverly managed to bring up sex. Again, she seemed comfortable and talked about her somewhat recent loss of virginity, diplomatically emphasizing how patient and understanding he had been for 6 months. We had another drink and went to the restaurant. Patient and understanding, let it happen. 3 kilos made me forget that. We talked and drank some more. The vibes were great. I was so aroused by Sandy's maturity. After 4 tequilas, I felt rich, handsome, sexy. I said, you know what I want? She looked at me essentially, leaned forward, and revealed D-cup cleavage. In her best Cosmo Girl impersonation, she said, no, what do you want? Her voice added, you big, strong, powerful man. Now I felt bulletproof. In my best Cary Grant impersonation, I'd like to have a torrid affair with you. She responded, I'd like you to take me home. When you screw up like this, take heart. At least once a year, I still hear myself saying, you fucked up again, asshole, right after she gets angry or scared and walks out of my life. Sometimes that's on the 4th or 5th date, and I've decided the time has come, ignoring my mandate, to wait till she thinks it's her idea. I forget about having patience and start behaving like she's a woman. Always and forever, wrong. Patience is not a virtue, it's mandatory.